Hello there. The uni-party establishment is coming for you. This government is ready to roll out digital ID for all, to make you and your children safer. Now here's what the Home Secretary Yvette Cooper said at the start of the week.
Rolling out digital ID and biometric kits so immigration enforcement can check on the spot whether someone has a right to work or a right to be in the UK.
Yes, it's all about immigration, but that's where it's starting, because from the Times we have the following. Mandatory digital IDs considered to crack down on illegal immigration. Sir Keir Starmer has accelerated a range of views of technology that could prove whether job applicants are in the country legally. And that would mean all job applicants, of course, because it would apply to everybody, wouldn't it? So as far as I'm concerned, that's where it's going. And here's what the article itself says. Finding the right place on the screen, it says, everyone in the UK will be forced to have a digital ID as part of plans being considered by Sir Keir Starmer to crack down on illegal immigration in the UK. The Prime Minister has accelerated a review of the options around the technology that could require all adults to show their digital ID when applying for a job to prove they are in the UK legally. It's coming, ladies and gents. It's coming. And the borders will be kept open as wide as possible to promote these plans. They will want them. They will want crime to continue to rise so that you are crying out to have these digital IDs to stop crime and illegal immigration. And it will be kept up until you cave in, with the promise that an ID system will allow the government to curb immigration and stamp out crime, when in truth it will be used to stamp out dissent. What do you reckon, Richard?
Jeff, I have been saying this for how long? How long ago were we talking about this? You know, for goodness sake, this does not come as a surprise, but we knew it was coming. I mean, this is why they're going to bring in, at the same time, central bank digital currencies. That will be next. They'll dovetail. The two things will come in together. I mean, at the end of the day, if we have mass immigration coming into the United Kingdom, okay, think about this. How are half of these people earning their money? Through the black market, right? They're doing it dodgy, cash in hand, through the black market. Okay, if that's the case, how do we stop them earning money so they don't want to come here? Let me think. Probably something like a biometric scan or digital IDs, and also central bank digital currencies. They'll work together. I mean, the logic they're trying to present here is absolutely impossible, that you could have these ID cards only for those people who came across the channel illegally. That Yvette Cooper can go and F off as far as I'm concerned, right? And so can Sir Keir Starmer. Absolute cuz sorry, a bit of a cough there. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, no, we're not taking this. It's so obvious that, I mean, it's been told, it's been sold to us as just for the boats. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So how do you apply for a job then? If you have to prove, so how do you apply for a job without a digital ID, if showing a digital ID is a prerequisite to getting a job? I'm sorry, this one goes over my head, Jeff. Can you elaborate on that at all? Can you sort of elucidate that?
Well, what I will say is I picked up on a tweet or an X post from Ben Habib, and just to show that to you, he said, It is the establishment that has practiced extreme policies against the people for at least 30 years. They have given up our sovereignty, our democracy, our freedoms and our borders. We are now speaking out. Our doing so is entirely justified, but to protect themselves and their extreme ideologies, they are trying to muzzle us, and that means all of us, and we will not be muzzled. But the point here is that the establishment has practiced these extreme measures against us to try and control us, and it's been going on for years, as just about everybody knows. And a digital ID will be a part of that. But the blob will tell us it's only to allow people to access public services they're entitled to. Does that include having a job, or is it just public sector jobs this will apply to? No, it's going to be every job. But they'll say there's no conspiracy theory to see here. But once a government ID system is in place, mission creep will be utilised to ensure digital ID will be needed to back up just about every transaction you make.
Yes. Yeah.
And all those transactions will end up being electronically logged as well. So in the end, you will just be bound down by everything you try and do. Oh, you want to join your local bowling club. Where's your digital ID? Yeah, everything. You will need your digital ID to do everything. And it won't be long, I guarantee it won't be long, before when you go into one of these big shopping malls, there'll be an entry point where you have to tag your electronic ID when you go in and when you come out. That's coming. That will come. All for your safety. All for the children's safety that go in there. Now, I don't know whether you know this, but the government has got this big plan about this on their website, the government website. And there is a growing list of companies on there that are registering as digital identity and attribute services. These are the private companies that will be dealing with the digital IDs of those who need it, for example, to show their right to work or rent, as well as those who need DBS certificates to work with children and the vulnerable. These are private companies that will be interacting with the government to hand out IDs or all the information required so they can get this information. And there's a list of these companies on the government website. And here's the sort of the heading, Register of Digital Identity and Attribute Services. But there's nothing to worry about, is there? We've got to, remember that government IT projects are always bulletproof. And nothing ever gets leaked or hacked, does it? And I'm hoping full security checks are in place for any private company getting their hooks into our data, or, better still, just don't go down this hellish route in the first place. So what do you think?
No, look, it's been... Britain is the target here, and the British people, not the immigrants. That's the first thing we have to remember, okay? So keep that in terms of your framing of how you're viewing this. I mean, if it's the law, then that means that every Briton is going to get pulled into it. And this is going to be, it's going to be no work if you don't have your digital ID, no housing, no NHS, no ability to purchase, no ability to buy or sell without it. Strange. Can't think why I'm thinking of that. And I do think, I can't remember, was it Pat McFadden, Labour's, McFadden, blah, blah, who said that the UK is behind the curve, I think he said, and look at us, Estonia, when it comes to these digital IDs. Because, I mean, the Tony Blair Institute has been openly demanding digital ID since goodness knows how long. Lovely Mr. Blair. Do you remember him? Yes, Iraq War. Yes, we all wanted to go into that, didn't we? Oh, yes, totally justified. Yes, whatever. This is the blueprint, I think, to be honest with you, for a mandatory, universal, free, it'll be free, digital ID. And this is how they'll start to get universal basic income to people as well. I mean, Starmer in this is just a bloody mouthpiece. Let's face it. That bad doesn't know what the bloody hell is going on about him. Digital ideas are a very good idea. Yeah, okay. Yeah, whatever, you prat. I mean, Blair is the guy behind all this. He's pulling the strings. You know, you can see this a mile off. I think it was in 2004 Blair tried to force through ID cards. But there's a big public backlash, which, completely smashed that one. And 20 years sort of later, it's the same sort of scheme they're looking at, except for digital only.
Yeah.
And the excuse has now changed as well, because back then I think he was using the excuse of terrorism, but now it's migration plus probably terrorism as well. So keep that in mind. At the end of the day, it's just the same goal, really, which is just tag every Briton. Tag us all. Tag us bloody all. It's a Trojan horse, this is. Stopping small boats. Oh, yeah, we're going to got to smash the gags. Are you really? Oh, yeah, you're so good at that, haven't you? Jeff, over to you. I'm too angry.
Yeah, as someone says here, Klobik says, the EU are starting in October. Yeah, we've got to be in lockstep with the EU at all times, haven't we? Just in case we're different. We can't be different from the EU or do anything else. Yeah, and as some people are saying, they're in charge of myself, thank you very much, and all the rest of it. But the thing is, this government surveillance will probably start or get into real motion when they start linking your digital ID to your bank accounts. And that's very important. And I think the banks will very soon start issuing updates to their terms of reference, the things they send you that no one ever reads. And in there, it'll be a small print. You must be signed up to digital ID, government digital ID, and linked to us to prove who you are by the end of, whatever. And they'll end up insisting on it in order to protect themselves from government overreaction. So that, they'll say, oh, we're just ensuring that the right money goes from your employer when you get paid into the right bank account. It's another check just to make sure the right person is working and getting paid into the right bank account and stuff like that. And they'll match it all up. And what'll end up is that the banks will end up being required to report any large or unusual use of cash, for example. And
already
it's
happening
to your digital ID. Yeah, but it will become harder, of course, because it's automatically linked straight to you, not just via the bank. It will be straight through your digital ID, which the banks, because they'll have linked to your digital ID. And in the future, can you imagine signing up for a new social media account? Because age restrictions and what will be needed to prove that you're over 18 or over whatever age they deem, digital ID. So when you sign up, suddenly you're on the books, aren't you? No more anonymity. That's gone. No one will be anonymous on there, not to the government anyway. All to protect the children. And how about belonging to a political party? As soon as you pay your membership dues from your bank account, or making a donation to a cause.
Hang on, it depends on which political party, doesn't it? There's some political parties you don't need any ID to. Yes, totally different. So I just going to interrupt you here, Jeff, a second. There's one comment here by Craig Larking, CK5AW. Vote reform, he says. Craig, Sarah Pochin says that she hasn't got a problem with digital IDs and that they're fine.
Yeah.
Reform, Sarah Pochin said that. So that needs to be borne in mind. If people are thinking that reform will stop this, think again. Think again. They're already talking about it. I mean, this is where it gets scary. This is where I start looking, where I'm at the point where, all right, I've joined Advance UK, and I'm now looking at Advance UK in a very different light. I was looking at it in a positive light previously. Now I'm like, I'm sorry, this seems to be the only way to stop this kind of thing. Because if reform is going to go along these lines of digital ID, I don't care. Why would you vote for reform if that's part of the plan? Why would you do it? Why? It's over to you, Jeff. Sorry.
Yeah. And I was going to point out, can you imagine someone trying to make a donation to a cause that's headed by someone like Tommy Robinson?
Oh.
You know, it's things like that at the moment, it's probably already monitored, but with your digital ID attached to it as well, you just don't know where this is going. Now, when an illegal immigrant arrives in the country, we don't detain them, do we? We just let them wander around. They will therefore need a digital ID, just like the rest of us, in case they get stopped. And they will need one to access the accommodation, food and money we supply them with, which is what Yvette Cooper was saying. But that is actually the first step into the system, not out of it, because they become a part of the system. And whatever they tell the immigration officials is what will go on that ID, including the age. And that will make their stay official. Because the courts have already told us that we have to believe exactly what they say, haven't they? And in time, I think we'll see them being used to safely give new arrivals jobs. Here's what Yvette Cooper also said in her speech earlier this week. Later this year, we will set out our plans to establish a permanent framework for refugee students to come to study in the UK so that we can help talented young people fleeing war and persecution to find a better future, alongside capped and managed ways for refugees to work here in the UK. So it's already part of that. And that is on top of her pronouncements on starting a Gaza refugee route direct into the UK for children, students and their families.
Jeff.
ID cards will just end up facilitating entry, not stopping
Jeff.
it.
These children, are these the ones with the long beards? Is it, and bald heads? Is those that? Are we talking about the same children now that we've seen coming across?
I'm not sure.
Previously?
They do seem to age quite fast, don't they?
Yes, definitely. Sorry, comment here by Rabbi Malakya. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. It says, "Let's all join Labour and infiltrate it out of existence." That's a very. Do you know what? That's actually not such a terrible idea. I was thinking of joining Jeremy Corbyn's new party. Was it Jezbollah or whatever it's called? Yeah, I thought I'd be. I thought I definitely they'll have me. Yes, I can run as a candidate, can't I? This is such a good idea. I mean, the left do it. The left sabotage parties. Why can't we just go in and do whatever? No, not mind you. I'm not saying we should sabotage parties. No, that might be illegal. Is that illegal?
That's
don't know.
Naughty.
Don't do it anyway.
It's called entryism. It's called entryism.
Right, okay. It's all a good laugh to talk about it, but I'm afraid we can't do it because it's illegal, so we should not do things like that.
It's not,
ever. Naughty.
No, it's not illegal. Entryism is not a crime. It's just you're getting into a party to...
it will be.
By lying, and it could well be. Especially when the party has got access to your digital ID.
Oh, yes. Exactly.
Yes.
All of a sudden, you can't access your funds.
Yeah. What people are forgetting is that there'll now be a totally new crime dealing in stolen and forged IDs. Now, at the moment, as I understand it, the idea is that your digital ID is something that lives on a massive government server. Highly protected, encrypted, looked after. They don't put it on a spreadsheet and email it out like they did those Afghan details. They'd never do that or anything like that. But so they protect it properly. And that because your driving license is linked to it, because you get that from the government. So your driving license and your passport will be linked to your digital ID. yeah, then, if someone nicks your passport, have they got your ID? This sort of thing. And all this, I just worry that we're going to have a massive stolen and forged IDs crime, a crime wave. And we know how clever some of these people are. They scam the government, don't they? They lock down government websites and hold them to ransom and all sorts of things. They get into banks, and we're going to have to trust. Do you think we'll ever be told if someone hacked into the government digital ID system and stole all the data? Do you think the government would ever own up to it? I don't. I don't think we'd ever know until all our money disappeared. Now, I worry about this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I'm thinking, because it's basically, this is a dystopian future where sort of they have brought it for the sake of our goodbye, Mr. Stabber. Mr. Stabber.
Yeah.
Look, daily life will become a series of digital checkpoints. That's what life will become. Okay, and don't think this is just far pie in the sky. Oh, it's not coming. Look, they're talking about introducing it. They're talking about it there. If you want to get to prove you're able to work in this country, this is exactly proving you want to buy or sell. I mean, if you forget your papers, sorry, it's a bit of Klaus Schwab came in there. Your freedom is removed. Your freedom essentially depends upon a bit of code that appears on a screen once you're scanned. Whether it's going to be biometric, I do not know. That's the other side of it. If they're going to start doing retinal scans, even, who knows? Look, but if you lose your access, all of a sudden you are erased from society. That's the thing you have to remember. And digital ID is the seed of the cashless society, and it becomes a permission-based existence that we all have to live in. And actually, it was you, Jeff, who on your very first article you ever wrote on our old magazine. We won't go into that now, but it was called The Cashless Society, and that's going back how long? 18 years now, Jeff.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah.
Now, Doc Savage One says the illegals will probably be the first to trial this ID card. Yes. They'll have the ID card, and
yes.
That's how we'll find out, and they'll trial it on them. But that just tells you they will have the ID card. They will have ID, British ID. Doesn't that tell you everything?
They've already got more rights than we've bloody got.
Yes,
they'll have many.
Yes, we know that. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Now, what we'll be told is that digital IDs will stop stuff like crime and fraud, tax avoidance and stuff like that.
They probably will.
When talking about tax avoidance, let's talk about Angela Rayner, shall we?
Oh.
And see, do you remember this? Well, at PMQs today, Kemi Badenoch's first question as leader of the opposition was just about that one subject. And here's what happened there.
She should have digital ID.
The fact that the Deputy Prime Minister has referred herself to the ethics advisor. She has admitted she underpaid tax. So why is she still in office?
In relation to the Deputy Prime Minister, she has explained her personal circumstances in detail. She's gone over and above in setting out the details, including Mr. Speaker, yesterday afternoon, asking a court to lift a confidentiality order in relation to her own son. I know from speaking at length with the Deputy Prime Minister just how difficult that decision was for her and her family. But she did it to ensure that all information is in the public domain. She has now referred herself to the independent advisor. That is the right thing to do. But I can be clear, I am very proud to sit alongside a Deputy Prime Minister who is building 1.5 million homes, who is bringing the biggest upgrade...
Well, she owns 1.5 million homes.
And who's come from a working class background to be Deputy Prime Minister of this country.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure we would have heard all that sympathy if it was the Conservative Deputy Prime Minister who was being attacked.
Yeah, Jeff, sorry, as I was saying earlier, Jeff, though, if there's ever a case for digital ID, it is Angela Rayner. Yeah,
Yeah.
There it is. I mean, yeah.
But would digital ID have stopped that? I wonder. It's one of those questions. But
Yes.
1.5 million homes. We know why they're building 1.5 million homes, don't
Or
we?
Angela Rayner.
And it's for Angela Rayner but it's not for the UK population. Well, not the present UK population. It's for the future UK population. That's who's going to be getting them. We all know that they've been handing out houses for free to these people.
Yeah, £300,000. £300,000 new houses have been handed out.
So that's going to
rent free.
But I have to point out that Angela Rayner is rather behind with that. They haven't put many spades in much ground to build those houses. They're probably already something like, I don't know, a year behind. So instead of having to build, was it 300 a year, it's going to have to go up much, much more over the next few years.
But Jeff, I mean, this is bloody ridiculous. Look,
yeah, I know.
Sake, you've got £300,000 homes, right? And these people are going. There's more people, incidentally, now living in these homes apparently than are living in these hotels. Yes. So they are living in these houses, all their bills paid for, free cash. You don't know where the effing hell they've come from, right? You don't know any of their backgrounds. They've entered this country illegally. They've broken the law immediately. As soon as they set foot on British soil, they broke the bloody law. And they still get handed out freebies. Oh, have this life. Oh, yes. Was it so? How awful was it fleeing the war in France? I mean, where have you come from? Sorry.
Actually, the only fighting they normally do is trying to get on the boat first. But there you go. And here's what Jeremy Clarkson had to say about Angela Rayner. Crikey. The Deputy Prime Minister of the UK has admitted she doesn't understand how tax works. I wonder what else she doesn't understand. And you have to say that is a good question and well asked. But it just drives you up the pole, doesn't it? It's when digital ID comes in, it's going to. They're so hell bent on it happening. It's going to happen whether you want it to or not, and you'll end up complying. Otherwise, you won't be able to eat. So that's the way they're looking at it anyway.
Well, I'm not so sure.
Yeah. Well,
I think the people are kicking back now, and I mean, you're talking to the people of Epping. They're now seriously talking about not paying their council tax. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't pay their council tax. If I was to do that, I'd be breaking the law, apparently, and encouraging people to break the law. So I cannot and will not do that, can I? No, I will not, and I cannot do that, can I? And in no way, shape, or form do I think that's a good thing. Do I? No, not whatsoever, at all, in any way, shape, or form. Sorry, a bit of a cough there for some reason. But anyway, as I was saying, though, the people are fighting back, and those people who will not be paying, I actually think that we've talked about this before, Jeff. Withholding of council tax is always, well, maybe they'll do it, but I won't do it, because, I don't want to get fined. No, I really think the people of Epping will not pay their council tax because of what's going on there. And I think this is a big kickback. And the same will apply to central bank digital currencies and digital IDs. I think the people are really at a wrong time to try and introduce it. If there was a stable government, they might be able to pass it through. But at this point in history, I don't think so. Yeah. I think, but saying that, it depends how determined they are. Because I wouldn't put anything past Starmer and the rest of those idiots. They'll find some way of putting in martial law first. Not that martial law could ever be implemented in Britain at the moment. There's just not enough policemen, and the British armed forces would never fire upon British citizens. I've been watching a few videos on that recently, and there's hardly any circumstances which they would do so. Jeff?
Yeah, if I was a council official, I wouldn't worry too much about people not paying their council tax, to believe it or not. You might think the money will dry up for the council and this, that and the other. But what the council will do is just go straight to the court. They'll put a claim on your home if you own it, which most people, I think, in Epping probably do. They'll put the they'll put an order on your house, and then that becomes an asset for the council, and they can borrow
Good
against
luck.
that asset.
Good luck with
borrow-
that one. Yeah,
They can borrow
good
against
luck
that
with that
asset.
one. I think if you want to see a nation kick off, if you want to see that, I think so, if they were to implement something like that, you would see the people rise up in a way that I cannot condone in any way, shape, or form. Yes, that's what would happen. Sorry.
Yes. Someone's asked the question, where does Starmer live? Bananas. And I was thinking, doesn't he live
Just
in
ask
number
any
10?
Ukrainian. Just ask any young Ukrainian. They
I
seem
think-
to
I
be able to
think he
find him
lives-
quite nicely.
And his cars, yeah. Actually, in fact, we still haven't heard anything about that, have we? Yeah. But there you go. Someone says the UK has lost. The peaceful solution is at a turning point. Prepare yourselves unless you want to be slaves. Well, the whole aim is that we are slaves. I mean, they're trying. You see, we were always slaves in the past, serfs working in the fields for the big man in the big house. You remember those days? Well, I don't, but it's going back a couple of 100 years, and we managed to break out of that. We got the vote and all this sort of thing, and then and now the powers that be don't like this. They don't like it at all, not one bit. They want to take back full-on control like they used to have. And this is how they do it. So now, if you don't like these digital IDs, what do? What if you don't toe the line? What if you start saying intemperate things online about the digital ID and the awful people who want to force them on us? And you get just a bit angry, don't you, online? Will you be Lucy Connolly or Graham Linehan? Well, according to Wes Streeting, the Health Secretary, you shouldn't be, because free speech is so important. And he's just said that after what's happened, especially with Linehan, the writer of Father Ted and the IT Crowd and what was it, Black Book?
Genius.
Brilliant series. Yeah.
Genius.
And he was arrested by 5 armed officers over those tweets, 3 tweets, as we all know. Now, they're saying that the officers are part of the Metropolitan Police Air Support Unit, and they're always armed. So if they arrest someone, they're armed. 5 of them. But Linehan had, as I understand it, flown over from the US. Well, the last time I looked, that takes more than an hour. It takes several hours. Surely the Met had time to source 2 unarmed Met officers to do the job instead of 5 armed ones. Don't you think that makes sense? I mean, don't you think 5 armed officers for 3 tweets? I mean, if it put out 5 tweets, mate, no, for 3 tweets is totally over the top. Now, I went to the College of Policing website and looked at what it says about police overreaction. And this is what it said. Research shows that police legitimacy is associated with the public thinking that police behave in ways that are appropriate. This is the College of Policing. Perceptions of procedural justice have a stronger effect on legitimacy when people also trust officers and staff to work within the law and adhere to ethical and professional standards. Uses of force that are seen by the public as excessive, unjustified, and beyond the limits of police authority are likely to erode trust and legitimacy. That, as I said, is straight from the College of Policing. Yet the police, whoever made the decision, decided to ignore that. And what they thought they would do instead is go and send 5 armed officers around to an author who writes comedy and arrest him. What a bunch of horse manure, as we all say.
Yes.
It's awful. What do you reckon to that, Richard? You know, they're saying
Well,
one thing and doing another.
Yeah, I was saying one thing and doing another. Bloody hell, let's look at Starmer. You know, he has come out, he himself said that the police were shouldn't have been so, you know, vigorous or whatever and gone after this what's his name? I can't remember his name. Graham, wasn't it?
Graham Linehan, yeah.
That's him, Graham Linehan. And, I mean, is this the same Keir Starmer who had people arrested for tweets last year? Is this the same individual? And said, no, I'd have them arrested for... No, you advised the courts to come down really harshly on people. There's a name I'm going to introduce you to now, Mr. Starmer, and it's not about a tweet. It's about a man just protesting, just standing, having a shout. His name was Peter Lynch. He's dead, Mr. Starmer, because of you and your government and your instructions towards the judiciary. You have blood on your hands, man. That's what I think.
And that's the awful truth about all of this. And that's what happens when you overreact, when the law overreacts. Now, I will say that if you look back to the 2011 riots, the Tories did just about exactly the same thing. A lot of people went to jail for extended times, and the consensus amongst the experts was it was the wrong thing to do after the event. They did an inquiry and said, shouldn't have done it. But Keir Starmer, I think he took the notes of that and thought, no, I'm going to do that because it sort of worked. It's stamped on everybody. And I think when they have an inquiry into this in the future, they will be told it's the wrong thing to do. So, yeah, it's...
Jeff, though, just think about this, right? Just think about this. Just get this into our heads, okay? So a man has a few little ranty words on a tweet, and yet you have got people coming across the border into Britain, this porous border we have. Many of them are convicted criminals in other countries. Many of them say that they want to do terrible things when they come here, and they're given a hotel room. And the police do nothing about it, right? This is Great Britain. I'm sorry. Do you know there's a word for this? There's a word for it. And it's not racist, by the way. I don't care what colour, creed they are. The word is invasion, okay? Other political party leaders have used that term, so I will use it too, thank you very much. This is an invasion of our country. And a two-tier system where the people who are invading this country seem to be given hotel rooms for free, houses where all their bills are paid for. Everything. And now, through this digital ID, they will now be legitimised and brought into society so that they can function, if I'm reading this correctly from Yvette Cooper, they can function within society and actually have a job that'll be legitimate. So when they say working for a company like, I don't know, Deliveroo, it'll be legal now.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much, John Dingle, for your contribution. That when the UK falls, so does the monarchy. Well, yeah, it depends on how it falls.
Well, which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
I mean, the monarchy has fallen. That's the thing. I think King Charles has fallen. He is... I could go back to the late Queen before him in many respects as well. But let's focus on the existing idiot currently wearing the crown. And he has completely fallen. He has chosen his side. He has chosen what side? Who's on our side? Who in authority is on our side? The only people I can see on our side are ourselves. People like Tommy Robinson and Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe. They're the only figures standing out right now, saying the right things.
Well, yeah. I mean, at the moment, I'm the only person, apart from, Farage seems to be saying the right words, but I don't see anything more than that. Ben Habib is, he's got real oomph behind what he's saying. He means it. And I'm not so sure about...
I don't think Farage is saying the right things at the moment at all. I think he's walked away from saying the right things. Oh yes,
He's
in
over
America, yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
free
yeah.
speech and all that sort of thing. He's over there at the moment
yeah.
talking about free speech. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he should be over here talking about free speech. I've got to be honest.
Well, he
with
should
you.
be
It's
allowing
all very well.
free speech in his party, Jess. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm so angry tonight.
Yeah, that's
he
true,
should be
yeah.
allowing free speech within his party. How many people have been kicked out of Reform for speaking their minds, for supporting something like Tommy
Yeah.
Robinson? Oh, my goodness, they supported the Antichrist, did they? Oh, this Tommy Robinson must be an awfully dreadful fellow, mustn't he? I mean, he must be
Yeah, but
so
it's worse
far
than
right. Go on.
It's worse than that. He gets people to sign non-disclosure agreements before they can become party officers. We know that. It's been in the press already. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know whether you realise this, but there could be a worse outcome in store for you from just cancellation if you go against the state, because it's now come out that a seventh AfD politician has died just before a set of German local elections in North Rhine-Westphalia. That's 7 that have passed away in the space of about 2 weeks, with an election looming and the AfD looking really dangerous to everyone else in the polls. Nothing to see here, of course. It's all natural causes, with Newsweek reporting the following on this. Even though police have said they do not suspect foul play, the deaths have fueled speculation online, including from Professor Steven Homburg, a retired German economist who was the director of the Institute of Public Finance at Leibniz University, Hanover, until 2021. He was commenting on the initial 4 who died when he said in a post on X on August the 29th that the cluster of deaths is statistically almost impossible. That was when the first 4 died. Now it's 7. But there's nothing to see here, of course. I mean, I wouldn't ever hint at the Germans doing anything like that at all, you know. Wouldn't
Well, the
happen
left,
here
yeah.
either, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. The left would never do anything like that. I mean, Jeff, that is pretty shocking when you think about it. Statistically impossible
Yes.
at 4, and now we're at 7. Okay, so let me just go all conspiratorial here and play devil's advocate, because I couldn't possibly mean this. Could I? If they have been bumping off members of the opposition, then they are effectively removing the democratic option for the people of Germany. What does that then leave the people of Germany with in terms of an option? Answers on a postcard there. It's boiling the frog. I mean, previously the frog has been boiled at a very low rate. Now the frog is suddenly has just got into a volcano, and that's what's happening, Jeff.
Yes, and Angel's Sin says, down tools and up spears. Of course, you know, political spears is what you mean. I'm
Political
sure of
spears,
that.
yes. Yep. Yes,
Yes,
political spears, yes.
Like
Down tools and
political
spears, yeah.
pitchforks. We always talk about political
Yes.
pitchforks on this
Yes,
channel.
yes.
When we mention pitchforks, they're political and hypothetical.
Yes. I mean, try getting hold of a pitchfork these days. you can't get hold of one. I mean, who needs a pitchfork? We've got all this mechanized farming. Yes. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, Rachel from Accounts has dyed her hair, says Kayree's 9, and Sharia Starmer needs to as well. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I always think that men with dyed hair to try and make them look younger look silly. But,
it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah,
I'll never
it
do
looks
that.
absolutely silly.
No. I'm old, I'm bald, I'm grey. I don't care.
That's it.
This is...
That's it. It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had my day of being beautiful, I'll have you know.
Yeah, so this is a good one. Thank you very much, John Dingle.
Thank
The
you, John.
Barbarians will want Casey's head as their winner's trophy. He is kidding himself if he thinks the Royals will survive and reign over them. And I think you're right.
Well, that's... there's... If this does turn when this does turn, as Dr. David Betts has suggested, then I'd imagine there are certain people in this country who would be very worried about staying here. And Casey may be indeed one of them. I'm not for 1 minute I'm suggesting that anyone should go out and do a hateful act against another human being. No. And I am not saying that. But I'm saying that when things turn ugly, ugly is ugly. There is no control over it. Jeff, we've spoken about this before. When you have two nations at war, war is war. It's not that there's no pleasantries involved. There are hopefully negotiations to return things to some form of normal, but in general, no, there isn't. I mean, this is why we need people like Tommy Robinson, Ben Habib, and Rupert Lowe, and Andrew Bridgen. I should not leave Andrew out of this at all. Sorry, Andrew, I do leave you out of this way too much. But the problem here is we need people like that, people who will and can unify a nation of people who will do what needs to be done to unify, to do the will of the British people when asked. People who have already sacrificed, people like Bridgen, especially Andrew. He has sacrificed so bloody much for this country. People like Tommy, he was prepared to die for this country when he came back. He didn't have to come back the last time when he went to prison. He didn't have to come back and face prison. He didn't have to do that. He knew that his life could potentially be in danger. Yet, he was prepared to risk it for the people of this country. People like them are heroes, Jeff.
Yeah. No, I agree. They've put it all on the line and taken what's come with it and taken basically taken the punishment beatings. They haven't sort of gone and walked away like so many of them have. They were just too scared to do anything. It's about putting your head above the parapet, and some do, some don't. And if you're a politician and you're meant to be representing your constituents, then do so properly by looking after their interests, not your interests of getting up that greasy pole, which is what most of them are there doing. So, yeah.
Jeff,
Yes.
I'm going to provide you with something. Wait, I'm going to have to keep talking. I'm going to have to provide you with something in a second. I think there's a bit of breaking news. I'll be with you now. Just keep talking.
Yeah, okay, you do that. Yeah, so basically, we really are at a point in this country where these people think they can now power grab. They think they have the ability to power grab us and take our freedoms away, take total control of our money. Now, it won't look like it because you'll still be able to go out and spend it, but you will always have that nagging thought in the back of your mind, won't you? Am I being watched when I'm spending this money? And in the end, when they bring in those CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies, then those are what's called controllable. They can just switch them off. So if they think you're up to no good, they can just switch it off. And you can't do anything. Or they could tie it into social credit scores and carbon credit scores. You have your own personal carbon credit annual limit. And if you go over that with the things you buy, you can't spend any more money. So, yeah, it's...
Right, Jeff, I've just put something up. If you could put that on the screen, please, and read it out.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, will do. Rayner used disabled son's NHS compensation to buy second home. Deputy Prime Minister sold share of her Ashton-under-Lyme house to Child's Trust for £162,500. So I'm not quite sure.
That's in the Daily Telegraph, that is.
Yeah, I don't know the full truth.
There's a second.
There's
the second part.
There's a lot of... there's a lot being said about this. And the one thing that really winds me up is that there's a disabled kid involved somewhere in there.
Yes.
And it shouldn't really be in the news at all, I don't think. But,
well,
anyway,
this is where, but when it comes down to, there's a lot of disabled kids in this country right now who are not
Yeah.
being treated fairly thanks to Labour's policies, especially not just children, but disabled elderly people who had their winter fuel allowance removed. And I shall continue reading this. Angela Rayner used £160,000 from a trust set up to care for her disabled son to buy the £800,000 seafront flat at the centre of Sleaze inquiry. The Deputy Prime Minister sold a 25% share of her house in Ashton-under-Lyne Trust for £162,500. Yeah, to the trust. And to be honest with you, Jeff, I'm thinking that it's a little bit suspect, to say the least. I'm not going to say too much on it because we can't. But yes, it says she said on Wednesday that her son, who was born prematurely, had received an award in 2020 and that a trust was then set up to look after his interests. The Telegraph understands the payout followed an 11-year legal battle waged between the Rayners and the hospital where her son was born. Sources suggest the NHS had paid compensation following difficulties during his birth, subsequent care in 2008. Final payments can take years to be made through a lengthy process for assessing long-term damage. Now then, there's two ways of looking at this, Jeff. Was she doing this for the benefit of her son? But when you put this alongside the other news of the not paying tax, it doesn't leave a very nice taste in the mouth, to be honest with you, Jeff. And it does seem a little bit strange.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, having read what you've just said, I mean, I don't know where that £160,000 came from. Did it come from the sale? Did it come from a trust that was set up? You have to be so careful.
Yes, I believe it did. That's exactly what the Telegraph have researched and said, I believe.
Yeah, when you deal with trusts, especially for children, you have to be so squeaky, so careful that you don't break any of the rules.
No, I know.
Trust is a real, thing. So, yeah, if she has done anything a bit wrong there, then yeah. But I'm not saying she has.
No, that's not saying that she has.
What does it actually mean? What does it actually mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know. I have a trust set up for. I have one set up as well for my youngest daughter, and you have to be very, very careful what that money is used for.
Yeah, you can't. You can't use it for yourself.
No, in fact, I do recall that it requires a magistrate, I believe, in terms of releasing of funds and early funds and how funds are appropriated.
Yeah, Richard, she had to go to court on Monday or Tuesday to allow this information to come out. So I would reckon she's probably taken the right advice, but it
of
still
course.
So I'm not going to say anything more about that.
No, exactly.
Be so
we can't.
Careful with this stuff.
Oh yes, totally. You have to be careful. At the same time, it's not a good look. And I mean, I can't think why the Daily Telegraph would be publishing that if they were so, good grief.
Well, it's a Daily Telegraph, It's a Daily Telegraph. It's anti-Labour, so it's going to do everything it can. I mean, I'm not excusing it. It's just the truth. You got to look at these things. You got to see, if the mirror came... Has the Mirror come out?
Yeah,
with
there's
the
still. Yeah, but at the same time, you have to realise that the Angela Rayner could very nastily sue the Daily Telegraph if they've got it wrong.
Yes.
So I think they would have had their. So unless they've got their ducks in a row there, the Daily Telegraph have done something very naughty. But it does seem very suspicious and very strange that this should come out around the same time as finding out about her not paying tax on her. Very strange indeed, Jeff.
I don't know. We will see, Richard.
Sunny
Cat says, wake up, boys. The British police are the enforcement arm of the state. They are the foot soldiers. They're not on your side. This is the problem. When the British bobbies were set up, they were individual units. A bobby has their own warrant card. They should operate on their own behalf for you. under the consent of policing. They are there to help you. You consent to them having the powers because they do the right thing. What they've been turned into in recent years is a paramilitary unit. You only have to go to one of these protests to see they're very comfortable going around as a large unit of 100 or so, all with their helmets, the pepper spray or pava, whatever you want to call it, and all the rest of it. They're very happy to do that, and they're wandering around doing that. You never see them on the beat, hardly ever at all, unless they're in a police car zooming from, I don't know, work to the first breakfast of the day, which a lot of them seem to have engaged in over the years, looking at the state of some of them. It's all right for me because I'm not in the police. I'm not in the armed forces anymore. I don't need to be slim and fit and fast anymore. So, but they do. And you sort of look at some of them and you're wondering, aren't you, could I actually get away from you? Yeah. But they are turning into...
Well, it's not Robert Peel's
nasty...
police, is it? Yeah, when the Bobbies were started, it was.
Saying, yeah.
I think, we're not talking about Robert Peel's police. We need to have a police force which is based on the same principles of Robert Peel. It was wonderful. It worked. It was what we wanted. The people supported the Bobby. The Bobby was a respected part of the community, and everyone loved the local Bobby. And respect is the word. That's gone. The respect has gone, and I can't think why.
Yeah, no. Pull My Finger says, arrested for crimes to comedy, Father Ted sucks. I disagree. I think it's absolutely hilarious.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I think it's one of the best shows ever. Yeah. Brilliant.
There was nothing I used to when I was young.
I disagree with you there.
Nothing I would enjoy more back in the day than cracking open a few tinnies and sitting down and watching Father Ted by the fire. And the tins would slowly get emptier and emptier, and many of them, I'd start piling them up and making little arrangements of towers with the tins, watching Father Ted, and then somehow find my way to bed. And fond memories. And the theme music as well was by was it the Divine Comedy? I think it was. I can't remember his name.
Oh, right,
Neil Hannon, I think it was.
Right, okay, didn't know that. One album. If you're going to listen to an album, I think it was by the Divine Comedy. I can't remember what it was called. Oh, good grief! Songs of Love, I think, was the song on it, which Father Ted is taken from. And superb album, absolutely superb. A song, Something for the Weekend. What a song! Carry on, Jeff. Carry on. Yeah, and We Are Many 73 says Glinner is awesome. Yes, I think. I'm not sure whether that's a nickname of his, Graham Linehan, or if it's actually just because it's on the top of his Substack, so it may be his Substack title. I'm not sure, but he has got a good Substack, so that's where he put that photo that's been flying around the press of him stood there with his with the tube in his arm, the needle with going off into the bag of whatever it was. Yeah, that's where
I just seen a comment here, Jeff. My Lovely Horse. Do you remember that? Wasn't that something he wrote?
Oh, that's going back some, yes.
Yeah.
I remember the name.
So
never watched
good.
it, I don't think.
No, there was that episode of Father Ted, My Lovely Horse. I was just, oh my goodness.
I'm just looking for it now. I can't find it. Too many.
God. And
someone mentions about the 2011 riots that I was talking about earlier. It was way worse than what we had last year. Though my uncle in Ealing said it was a war zone, burned out cars everywhere and smashed up shops. Everyone forgets that. That was the left doing that. But that was all right, it doesn't matter. It was mostly peaceful sort of stuff, But, Yes, definitely. Anyway, I'm just, we got, yes, as Tigger Rule says, thank you very much, ditch the smartphone and use cash. They don't like you using cash. They just don't want you using cash,
Lots of places don't take cash now. It's gone ridiculous. Lots of places only take cash still. But, the funny thing is, a lot of the places that only take cash, not all of them, please, not all of them, but a lot of them that only take cash are the types of businesses and establishments that one would actually beg a digital ID and digital central bank digital currency to come in to remove, because our high streets are littered with these certain types of establishments. I mean, one could say they're money laundering centres.
Yes, yes.
And our horse, horse, my lovely horse, and our high streets are filled with such places, and that is a very a worrying trend, Jeff. Very worrying, and that's why people will run towards central bank digital currencies and digital IDs. Yeah, they'll welcome them. They will welcome them. It's only going to take a few really nasty events in this country for Starbucks to come out and say, "Right, I've got to sort out this tobacco problem, and sort out the black market, and sort all this, and this is how we do it. Digital IDs." Somebody just said to me, King stand up. Our King stand up. The only time he stands up is to pray in a different kind of prayer to the Christian prayer, or to go and speak to the tree that's standing next to him. That's all he does. That's the only thing he'll stand up for. He won't stand up for the British people, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now, Brian Tyler, 689, says, AFD's membership has shot up in the last week. And I can see that, if that lot start sort of falling around dead. Now, the claim will be that they were all so old they were going to die anyway. But 7 just before an election makes you think, doesn't it? Yes. Now, during Prime Minister's question time, one of the Tory MPs asked Keir Starmer about the flying of flags. And Sir John Hayes it was, I think. And he did ask the question. And I think that Keir Starmer has now painted himself into the corner of having to support flying UK, English, Welsh and Irish and Scottish flags. I think he's painted himself into that corner. I'll just show you what he said.
Sir John Hayes, final question.
I know you will agree, Mr. Speaker, that flags and banners, in bringing national pride, nourish individual sense of worth and nurture our shared sense of belonging. So will the Prime Minister take steps to ensure that across every part of our kingdom, alongside the Cross of St George in England, St Patrick in Wales, St Andrew in Scotland, and the Red Dragon in Wales, that our flag is flown on every government and public building, hospitals, schools, police stations, railway stations? For every Briton deserves the chance to see a forest of flagpoles and the flutter of the Union Jack.
Prime Minister.
Well, can I thank him? And I share his pride in our country's flag. It represents our history, our heritage and our values. And that's why we display it. And I was the Labour leader that put the Union Jack on the membership card for the Labour Party. I'm very proud.
Oh, well done. Bully for you.
It belongs to all of us. We should be proud of it and value it.
There you are. So he seems to have pushed himself into that corner. But did you see the two either side of him, Rachel Reeves and Angela Rayner? They did not look particularly happy to me. They looked a bit crestfallen, worried about their futures. Yeah, I think the writing's on the wall for both of them. Yeah. Both of them. And of course, if they do go, you know what will happen? It's all those sexist Tories who were after them and blah, 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 and all the rest of it. So you just have to be prepared for that. That's coming. You can see it a mile off. That's the sort of claims they make. Anyway, yes.
But him and flags. I mean, there's only you just got to look at what's it called, Oxford Street in London, and many of the streets in London. There's lots of flags flying. They're very multicoloured, very pretty. They're very pretty. I gotta say, lovely multicoloured flags. No British flags, of course, but these other flags, and they seem to fly a lot of them in June. Funnily enough. And that seems to be the sort of national flag now. I wouldn't just say national; it seems to be the global flag almost, like this sort of like multicoloured flag, and that seems to be acceptable. The only flag that is acceptable. I mean, they even paint effing police cars with it, for goodness sake. police cars are painted with the same colours of these flags. They won't do the British flag, of course. They won't, or English flag. You won't find a red dragon police car. Oh, maybe you will. Maybe someone did it for a stunt, for a joke, but not en masse. You don't see mass paintings of, I mean, that might cause offence, though, Jeff. If they start painting police cars with Union Jacks and with English flags, I think that a lot of people could get offended by that. So best we don't do that. Yes.
Yes, of course. Yes, as K.M. Thornton says, UK government no longer understands democratic leadership. You have a ghost government calling the shots. There's someone in there calling the shots, and it ain't this lot. I don't think they've got the brains between them to do half of what's going on. The thing is that they're destroying the country quite nicely. And you've got to remember, Rachel Reeves she doesn't sit there alone in an office in number 11 and sign all these things and make up all these policies. It's all done for her by the civil service based on what she sort of generally says. And it all seems to the last 20 years, 30 years probably, whenever the government has said they want to do something, everything has turned into a complete and utter shambles, basically because the civil service are running the place. The top mandarins who want to destroy the UK as it is. They've all been brought up with this communist ideal, and that's where they want us to go. So they've got to destroy the whole capitalist thing, haven't they? So they'll do that. Now, and our politicians are just figureheads. They're just figureheads. They're there to get the money for the department and let the department get on with wrecking the country. And I get sick with it all. And I'm going to show you another snippet from today's Prime Minister's Question Time. And it must be one of the shortest answers I've ever seen that windbag Keir Starmer answer to. It was a very short answer, and it was a very direct question, actually. And this was from Sir Julian Lewis, another Tory MP.
Julian Lewis.
Admiral Lord West was head of the Royal Navy, Chief of Defence Intelligence, and a Labour Security Minister, and currently sits on the Intelligence and Security Committee. So when he writes in the national press denouncing what he calls the disgraceful decision to hand over ownership of the Chagos archipelago, adding that he does not accept that the move is, quotes, absolutely vital for our defence and intelligence, as the Prime Minister claims, should we rely on his professional judgment or not?
Minister. I have the misfortune to disagree with him.
And there you go. So he's got a big expert in defence and the military and Chagos and all the rest of it. Oh, I disagree with him. That's it. No explanation, nothing. That whole thing stinks, just like the whole of his government stinks. Anyway, that just gives you an idea of what's going on out there. With they're just doing everything wrong. Everything they touch is wrong, and they are being led by the civil service, just like the last lot were. And it's about time we cleared the lot out. The next government has got to be a UK loving government. And I'm with Ben Habib on this. He says that it's inevitable because the people will vote for one, or at least one that is saying that it's going to change all this, because we desperately need this change. We've got to throw these civil servants out. We've got to ditch them. And we've got to ditch a lot of people at the top and get rid of a lot of jobs as well. The first one to go should be the police and crime commissioners. They should just go. All this that's going on, have we heard one single police and crime commissioner stand up and say anything at all? Apart from Sadiq Khan, who thinks it's all going swimmingly well.
Yes, but there's no
They're
grooming
all just a
issue
waste
in
of space.
Yeah, I mean, there's no grooming issue in London. He couldn't understand, in fact, what grooming issue his Tory counterpart was talking about, could he? Sorry, I think I'm going to sneeze in a second, Jeff. Well, I think I may be okay, mate. But,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
The police and crime commissioners in the United Kingdom are rather quiet when it comes to what's happening, and that does make me worry about the infrastructure of the United Kingdom. And if we have central bank digital currencies coming in, are they speaking out against them? And you might think, well, why should a police and crime commissioner speak out against such measures like digital IDs? And I think, well, actually, it is probably in the public's interest that you speak out on certain things when it comes to law and order. And don't forget, an ID card will be part of law and order. That's something we need to be thinking about. Wouldn't you say there, Jeff? What do you think on that? I want your thoughts on that one.
Well, yeah. What do I think about anything, to be honest? I'm just getting to the end of my tether with it all. I just find that every time you wake up in the morning, there's just more SH1T on the plate, isn't there? Just more. And then we're finding out that the next thing that we're finding out is Rachel Reeves has decided we're not going to have a full budget or whatever, a autumn statement, until the last possible legal day she can hold it, November the 26th. That means it's not going to have anything done by Christmas. That means it's thrown into the new year. In the hope that by then all us compliant people will have handed over all our money to them, everything to them, so that they can go and spend it around the world and bring people in and be nice and kind to them. I think the people have just had enough with all of it, to be honest. Everyone I talk to, they just roll their eyes and say, have we really got to put up with these bunch of charlatans for the next 4 years? Yeah. Yeah, someone's saying cash, use cash. That's great until they make it outlawed, you know. Oh, we don't need cash anymore. But they can't get rid of it. It's almost impossible to get rid of cash, thank the Lord. But did you know that cash only makes up, I think it's between 1% and 2% of the total economy? Of all the money in circulation.
Yeah, that's the only real money in circulation, though.
1% and 2% is real hard cash. The rest is ones and noughts on your computer screen when you log into your bank. That's the rest. The bit you got in your pocket, for every pound you got in your pocket, there's £100 in the digital economy system. Yeah, and that's without crypto and all the rest of it.
Yes.
As Paul Senior says, your physical driving license is at risk, apparently. They're going to go full digital, which means they can buy you from legally driving at the push of a button. Now, this is an interesting concept, because at the moment the idea is that when you have a driving license or a passport, that's linked to your digital ID. If you no longer have a physical driving license or even a physical passport and it's all digital, how do you personally access your digital ID unless it's via biometrics or an implant?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Someone's just said on here that Angela Rayner needed a sob story. And that's why, you know, Keir Starmer went through all that, you know, oh, she's come from this, that and the other, and oh, isn't it so bad? And if it had been a Tory, as Kemi Badenoch pointed out, it would have been knives out, you know, all the way through. In fact, I think she let them off lightly. And
there's a few pundits who are saying Kemi Badenoch didn't go nowhere near far enough as she could have with Angela Rayner.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for these people, Jeff. I don't. Look what they've done to this country. Look what they've done to people. You know, Angela Rayner was just as complicit, incidentally, as Deputy Prime Minister as Keir Starmer. You know, it's like everyone's going, oh, poor Angela Rayner, she's had it hard. Just a second, can we just have a little thought here for Lucy Connolly? What she went through. Thanks to Angela Rayner and Keir Starmer. So Angela Rayner had nothing to do with it. Yes, she did. She was Deputy Prime Minister. She legitimised the actions of the Prime Minister, who she stands beneath. Literally sometimes, I wonder. Anyway.
Yeah. Yes. Someone's pointing out here, this is Dangboy says, we need a Morris Man revival. Let's all get round them with the shaky sticks and the...
Oh, yeah. Morris dances. Absolutely. Do you know what? I miss that shit. I used to hate it as a kid. I bloody hated it. But now I look at it, it's fantastic.
There was a group of Morris men that used to black their faces up in their hands because they were miner. It was MINER, as in mining for coal. Morris men, you get the idea. So they did that, and they got stormed out of existence because it was racist. But it was nothing about racism. And this is half the problem with our culture. People decry it because they don't understand it, and they don't make any effort to understand it. And if that's the case, I don't want them here. Yes. Someone's making some people are making various claims about Angela Rayner's trust fund or whatever that is. I'm not going to say anything about it at the moment. As I say, it's a very trusts of dynamite. If you get that wrong, it's dynamite. It'll blow right up in your face. Serious. So, yeah. Oh, this is a good one. This is how I feel. Mark Sutton says, I fear the English have run out of words to express contempt for stammer. English is not equipped for this moment. The English language can't hack it. I think you're absolutely right. You know, you have to descend into mere vulgarities to do so. And we need more expressive language, don't we? Yes. And now a lot of people are saying that Rayner surely now has to go. Now, as I understand it, she's actually voted in as the deputy leader by the membership of the Labour Party. You know, the unions, basically. So to get rid of her as the deputy is not an automatic thing. What she needs to do, to be honest, is to resign as an MP as well, as far as I'm concerned. I think it's got to that point. And I think that Rachel Reeves needs to do the right thing as well. And I think Keir Starmer needs to consider his position as well. In fact, I think the best thing they could do is call a bloody general election and put us.
Well, I think that's exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen. I think that is very much on the cards. We discussed it before, Jeff, and I can't see any way out of there being a snap election quite soon. I really think nobody believes in this party, in this Labour Party, in this Labour government. Nobody believes in them. Nobody wants them. I mean, more people, I think, now are starting to sympathise with Jeremy Corbyn's idiot machine, whatever it's called, Jezbollah. And, you know, you've got two effective idiot machines going on there. And then you've got the Tories, who are completely untrustworthy no matter what they say now. It's like, no, you have plenty of time, you're in government, shut up, go away, F off. You have Reform, who some wonderful, the membership of Reform are brilliant. Many of the people in Reform are fantastic, except at the top. Yep. And there's a big disparity there. And that's the problem. If hypothetically you had, say, Ben Habib, Rupert Lowe and Tommy took over Reform, then you have the finest political party this country has ever had. But that's not going to happen. So I think all eyes are now on Advance UK. And let's see how that develops. And I hope Rupert Lowe comes across to Advance UK. If there's a general election tomorrow, though, I'm afraid, yes, unfortunately, if you have an option, the only one would be Reform. And that's just to hope and pray for an incremental change. But I'm starting to change my position on that as well slightly now. As I said, because I'm just think if Advance UK do really pull their socks up by a snap election, then maybe there's something to be said for that. I don't know, Jeff. I don't know. I don't know. The jury's out on that one for me.
Well, the Advance UK is still not yet a fully fledged political party.
Yes,
it cannot field candidates, but it's got to that point where it. This month, at the end, the end of this month, there's going to be a meeting in up in Newcastle where they're going to announce the formation of the party, as I understand it. Now, the more they get, the better. So if you really want to help this country, there's a link in the descriptions box below to the Advance Join Up page. Just click on that. It's still £10? I think it is still £10 to be a member, to join as a proper member, not just as a Jetsbala newsletter reader or anything like that. Not a freebie thing. It's a proper membership thing. So I would seriously consider doing that.
Yes, and I think the more people who do it now, actually, this sends a message to Reform and to the Tories and whatever other political entities are out there on the right. So to show them, look, if you don't get your you-know-what together, there is a party that will do it. And I can't remember who I was watching the interview. I think it was Andrew Gold with Ben Habib, and Ben Habib said, look, if Farage just got everything, pulled his socks up, got the whole thing together, then Ben said, I think I'd just walk away, if you did this correctly. But we all know that that's not going to happen. So it was he was just saying that out of, I don't know. Anyway, but just remember this. Advance UK holds the feet to the fire of Reform and of the Tories even as well. Anyone on the right. But we need a unification of the right. That's the important thing before the general election. So I'm sure there are backroom dealings that might be going on and conversations taking place, but they're probably going to be more between Reform and the Tories than Advance UK at the moment. So we'll see. We'll see. It depends how great the enemy is. Because if, and I repeat, if there is a potential coalition between the Greens, Labour and the Lib Dems, and even Hezbollah, if there's some pact going on behind the scenes there, it's something for the right to completely worry about. Don't think that Reform will just walk in and steal this. And if they do come in, that they'll change things. They won't. There's a lot to be said here. There's a lot that I want to say, but I can't. Yeah. Jeff.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Now, a lot of people are saying the right's split. Well, the left is split even more. They're splitting faster. You've got to remember that Hezbollah came out because of a failure of the Labour Party being left enough for some people. And if you look at the leadership election that's just taken place in the Green Party and you have a look at that, you'll realise that they are totally unelectable, except within a few weirdo groups of people with weird hair and weird attitudes. They're not electable. And if they all tried to get a coalition, can you imagine a Green, Corbyn, Labour, Lib Dem coalition? Could you really? Could you really think that that's going to last further than 48 hours before one side is making demands on the others? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. It would just fall apart, and it would be a disaster.
It would be a disaster, but would it fall apart? That's the question. Or would there be some new legislation cancelling democracy pushed through? And the harshest aspects of all those political parties and most radical aspects would then be enshrined in law. I don't know.
No,
I'm
sorry, something like that would be the end. The people would march on Westminster if they tried to change the law and take out. If they tried to take out elections, it would be the end.
I think we're coming close to something like that right now. I think there is a march heading towards Westminster going to happen. And I'm not talking about the 13th of September. I'm talking about, I'm just unfortunately talking about a very angry people coming together, unfortunately, with not good intentions, or maybe, I can't say not good intentions, not the right motivation. Oh, no, not the right motivation. What's the word I'm looking for, Jeff? The terminology I'm looking for. I'd say that they're not going to be coming together with anything peaceful in mind. That's right. That'll do. Yeah.
Lord Viking Live says, so you're a racist now, Father Ted. I remember that episode. Yeah, it was great, that one, where he was doing all his actions in front of the wind. Oh, it was an absolute gem. Yes, I won't do them on here because I've been locked up.
I forgot. Yeah. I'm going to have to start watching Father Ted again. I mean, I'm not drinking alcohol until Christmas, but I think I might just have to, around the Christmas period, just sit down.
And here we go. I'm just going to egg this on a bit. Cup of tea. Go on.
Go on. Yeah. Did he do Black Books as well, did you say, Jeff?
Yes, he did. That was another.
I loved Black. It was one of my favourite series on television of all time. That was so good, Black Books.
Anyway, back to seriousness. Salarian Unlimited says, if they don't take my cash, they see my back as I walk out. Yeah, which is fair enough if you don't want to use plastic and all the rest of it. In fact, we shouldn't. Someone right at the beginning said we shouldn't be using plastic because it's bad for the planet. So yeah, because cash is the ultimate recyclable, isn't it? When you think about it, because it keeps going round and round.
Well, yeah. Can we have a paper? You just have it on a little bit of paper. So it reminds me of oh, good grief! What was it? The Goon sketch. What time is it, there, girls? Oh, I don't know. I got it written down on a piece of paper. Oh, such a good sketch. The Goons.
Yes.
Yeah, have a look. Go on YouTube later, ladies and gentlemen, and look up the Goons. What time is it, Eccles? And yeah.
Yes.
Hi, good fellow.
Yeah, I'm just looking because someone said in the comments that Nigel Farage has pulled out a blinder, and I'm just looking it up on. So Britain is at war with freedom, Farage tells US. That's in the Telegraph. Nigel Farage said Britain was at war with freedom as he prepared to testify in US Congress over limits to free speech. So, yeah, he's over there talking to the Americans about that. And it comes down to whether the UK government is going to shut down American tech companies in the UK, because that's what they would like to do if they thought they could get away with it. If Keir Starmer thought that UK technology had the stones, he would be putting up, a UK YouTube and a UK Twitter and all the rest of it to try and keep everything in-house and controllable. But he can't, because those are monsters. Google and Meta and all the rest of them are just monsters compared to anything that we could come up with. In fact, the Chinese will probably be the next lot anyway. They'll control everything, including us, if we're not careful. But that's why it gets me. We should be having more free speech to make sure that the likes of China can't control us. We should be on the side of the US. But Starmer and his crowd, they're all for control, net zero, making sure we don't use anything, make sure we don't travel anywhere. Oh, it's just...
Yeah, but he has cozied up the Chinese quite a bit. And
yeah, he has.
Who's the boss of BlackRock? Is it Larry
Fink was it? I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, he put out, Starmer put out a tweet when since he became Prime Minister, saying that he's looking forward to working more with companies like BlackRock. And I thought, oh, okay, so we get where you're coming from. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't even about capitalism, Jeff. This is about something else, much more insidious. This is some kind of globalist control. Keep this in your minds now, all right? The National Socialist Workers' Parties of Germany, the Nazi Party, which is the Nazi Party, which is commonly known as, they had a very different way of implementing authoritarianistic control. Instead of nationalising everything and taking everything into the control of the state, they applied their control, the Nazis did, via corporate entities like Siemens, I believe, who was it Siemens? And
yes,
Hugo Boss. And to name but a few. So they realised they didn't need to take everything into public ownership to effectively control the masses. In fact, they used the free markets to do so. And this can be done again. So this is why this whole thing about the left and the right is just a big misnomer. It's a ruse. It's smoke and mirrors. It's a red herring. You should be following who's trying to effing control you, not what's happening in terms of trying to produce the most egalitarian society via X, Y, and Z means. No. Forget that. Look at that as a separate issue. Look, first of all, at the control mechanisms applied to you and who's doing it and how free you are. How free you are to be able to speak your mind and say what you want to. There we go, Jeff, and I think we're going to be coming to the end now. And before we do, I just want to say quickly, please like this video. Press the like button, you lot. Damn it, do it. Come on, you lazy blighters. And most of you watching this live stream will not for some unknown reason, be subscribed to this channel. So I suggest you go down there to the subscribe button, click it. It isn't difficult. It really isn't difficult, but it allows us to do better videos for many, many reasons. And it gets us a better exposure to all you wonderful people out there. And if you press the subscribe button, the like button, do you know what it means? Do you know what it means? It means that more lefties are going to get to watch this video, and it's going to get the purple vein on their heads boiling. So if you're watching this, press like and press subscribe and click the all option so you get notified each time we do a new video. And if you really like what we do, if you really like it, what you need to do is become a channel member. And you can do that on YouTube, on Android devices and on laptops and on desktops. You can't do it on iPhones, and I don't think you can do it on iPads either. So do that, and yes, you get lots more information. Jeff, over to you, sir.
Yes, and Joseph Verslis says, everyone, please look into W020200600606 cryptocurrency system using body activity data. These are the signs of the times.
Interesting. I can see 3 sixes in that. So
yeah, so did I. And if it's using body activity data, yeah, nodding of the head or waving of the right hand, maybe. I don't know. It's I'll have to look into that one just to see what that's all about. But thanks very much for that. So yeah, and on that note, I will say that it's been great to talk to everybody. Hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'll do many more of these to come. And be great to see you back again. And on that note, I shall say that it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him, Mr. Jeff Taylor. Goodbye.
Goodbye.